You are listening to Supplement Source, the official podcast of the Council for Responsible Nutrition. And now your host, Jeff Ventura.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Supplement Source. My name is Jeff Ventura. I'm the Vice President of Communications here at the Council for Responsible Nutrition, and I am delighted to be joined today in our little Supplement Source studio by Dr. Luigi Gratton, who is the Vice President of Health and Wellness at Herbalife. Welcome, Doctor.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having us on. Appreciate you, and very excited to talk about ingredients.
Yeah. Boy, metabolic support. This is a big topic these days. A lot of interest. We hear this. Obviously, we see this in the media all the time now. There's just a lot of excitement about all of these different kinds of ingredients. Let's just start at the ingredient level. What kind of bioactive compounds are currently being studied for their potential to support, metabolic health? I mean, what are we looking at here in terms of some of the ingredients that we're looking at?
To frame everything, I would first spend 10 seconds saying, I worked at UCLA for many years as a family medicine physician. I've been at Herbalife 20 years. And I love this really cool job because working with some of my mentors like David Heber, Susan Bowerman, some of the dietitians and medical doctors who ran the UCLA Center for Human Nutrition, what we really talked about were basics like lowering your carbohydrates, increasing your protein, making sure you had the right types of fats. And then to your question, this is years ago, we would talk about things that were botanical in nature that could help regulate your blood sugar levels. That could help provide you with maybe some energy. So to your question, Jeff, what are the things that we're looking at? Well, there's specific botanicals, and those botanicals can affect particular areas of the body, and we don't make any drug claims, of course, any medical claims, but that will help support the body in particular ways. And I can go into a variety of the botanicals that we're working on with this new product.
There's an effect when you combine these two, is there not, with some of these ingredients? Like there's a method. There's some synergy there. Walk me through, what that is. The combining of these, thermogenic agents.
Absolutely. Well, it's cool, Jeff. You started the whole interview with asking about metabolic health. The way I was trained was basically the old school calories in, calories out. We worked on very low calorie diets, medically monitored. We would restrict calories, and then we would sprinkle in botanicals and things that we thought were very healthy. I think what you're seeing in weight management, the newer approach, the contemporary way is obviously controlling, making sure you're conscious of calories, but being cognizant and conscious of the quality of the calories. You got to get the right type of protein, the right type of fiber. Okay, having said that, then it goes to what type of extracts and botanicals are you including? So there are things that can affect blood sugar. There are things that can support body composition. There are things that can support your energy expenditure. And those are the things that we were targeting in this kind of, what you're asking, Jeff, a multi-prong approach.
It seems to me, and I'm sure that you know this better than a lot of people, this is complex for a lot of people, that people tend to think in generality about metabolic health. They don't think that you can fine tune it. What you're saying is no, that there, if you pay attention and if you actually look into the subject, there are nuances to this that really do benefit the consumer who pays attention.
Oh, for sure. And I think if you take anyone who's 25 years of age and you take someone who's 95 years of age, let's say they want to lose weight. Okay, they'll go on a weight loss program. But a lot of folks are thinking beyond the weight loss. They're thinking longevity, what we're calling healthy lifespan, because we're not saying it's an anti-aging product or a company. We're trying to talk about healthy lifespan. So if I can quickly go through a few categories, Jeff, just to give you examples.
Please do.
Let's say you're 25 years of age. Jeff, I'm on this podcast with you. You look like you're a fit guy. You look young to me. You look like you're in good shape. So you might
55. I'm
55 as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I qualify for senior housing now.
You look great, man. Well, for the listeners who don't
you.
know you, you look terrific, man. But, it's a great point. Let's say, you're focused on the next 45 years of your life, and weight loss may not be a big thing that tracks with you, but quality of life. So certain things you want to do. You want to make sure that your body composition is good. So some of the new ingredients that we've looked at, if I can just highlight a few of them.
Sure, yeah, please.
So one is like this really interesting extract from Moro blood oranges, Moro. And the Moro blood orange, when you take this extract out of it in the efficacious amounts, it will support healthy weight loss. This is actually claims that we can make on structure function claims. Body mass index helps to support that, and also helps to support an optimal waist to hip circumference. So that's something that, although maybe you're like not really interested in losing a bunch of weight, maybe that's what you want, such as, this is going to sound crazy, hibiscus and lemon verbena. I didn't even know about lemon verbena till recently. But those extracts, we look at actual fat reduction, healthy fat reduction. We're talking about fat mass reduction, and really looking at satiety after meals. Some people just want to feel full when they finish their meal, as opposed to continuing to eat. And there's some other ingredients that we can get into, like red chili pepper extract, which helps with energy expenditure, chromium, which supports sugar levels. People always feel better when their sugar's regulated. And then, of course, caffeine. We love caffeine. Everyone likes coffee, green tea, you name it. But caffeine it's great when you incorporate it in moderate amounts. So those are some of the things that we've been highlighting recently for your question, Jeff, on metabolic health. May or may not be for weight loss, but for sure it can help in that area. But we go sort of functional areas of the body, blood sugar, energy expenditure, and all those things. And it really speaks to the legacy of our company, Jeff, because Herbalife, I mean, the word Herbalife is really botanically based. So these are kind of the things that we highlight.
Well, and this isn't just something that you guys sort of dreamed up. I mean, there is a lot of clinical validation that goes into some of this work, definitely happening on the research side of things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm trained as a medical doctor. I went to Mount Sinai, New York. And the way I was trained, by the way, I did a family medicine intern and residency, and then I did a clinical nutrition fellowship. So I got 2 board certifications, worked at UCLA with Dr. David Heber. He's pretty well known in the world of nutrition. That's been my mentor for many years. Still talk to him every week. And the way he trained us in research was, the very standard, rigorous way of doing research, of getting your results, of making claims on ingredients, all the good double-blind, placebo-controlled. And so that's the way I came up. The way we conduct research at Herbalife is just the same way. We're in many different countries, 95 countries, and
Wow.
Often we'll work with a local university if we can partner with them, and we'll often sponsor a postdoc or a master's level student. And instead of working on a particular, let's say, ingredient that we want to focus on, we may focus on the area of research. Let's say probiotics and the microbiome. That's something we're doing in Europe. So we're sponsoring a PhD, and their research is around that. And then whatever body of work they publish, we can sort of leverage that and take a look and see, all right, maybe we want to go in that direction of research. And other things that we'll do, obviously, if we have a CRO that will lean into, like clinical research organization, we can pay them a certain amount of money and test a final product that we already know about. The latest product that we just launched with this botanical blend with the caffeine, we actually lean heavily on the research of each of the ingredients. So we don't have to necessarily do our own clinical, because there are, let's say, 5 botanicals and caffeine, and there's tons of research behind each of those ingredients.
Where are we headed with metabolic support and supplementation? Are we talking about personalization at a certain point, tailoring metabolic support supplements for individuals? Is that where we're going?
You're spot on. And this is exactly but we announced that sort of this, what you're saying, the personalized platform, is the direction that we announced in March of earlier this year, 2025.
Oh, okay.
And we just sort of doubled down on that at one of our recent conferences, that we're continuing in that direction. So you're right. We have a digital platform now where our constituents can actually track their own metabolic health parameters. They can input them into the platform. And ultimately, the direction that we're going, and this is totally public information, we would like to have personalized formulas that can actually help support individual. Now, the big products in our companies are like our meal replacement shakes, which we may have in 30 different flavors. We've got aloe vera. We've got a lot of major sellers, but we're highly interested in this area of personalized nutrition, because we know it's not a one-size-fits-all philosophy for everyone. So that's the direction we're going. We're not quite there yet, but we're doing the infrastructure so that we can get to that point, and it's coming soon. So we've already got the platform that we launched, the digital. We've got a beta group who are currently doing it, and ultimately we'd like to probably end of this year or early next year, we'd like to sort of have a very clear strategy on exactly what what the personalization is going to look like.
What is the misconceptions that people have about this wing of supplement science? Is there something that you run into where you have to kind of re-explain to people some particular point?
I think, this is a great question, Jeff. I'm getting together with my medical school roommates from 25 years ago this weekend, actually coming up.
That's awesome.
We're doing like 2 days and, we're going to meet in Miami. And then anyway, long story, a bunch of the guys, and I was talking supplementation 25 years ago when I graduated in 2000, Mount Sinai, New York. And my roommate, or my best friend, he just still argues with me on the validity of fish oil and omega-3s. To this day, he's still arguing with me.
He just thinks you're hippy dippy.
Exactly. And he's an internal medicine doc at Columbia Presbyterian, very well regarded. He's a professor of medicine. He's a serious guy. But I'm like, dude, fish oil, that was 30 years ago we established that. So it's interesting, your question. There's different populations who have different perspectives. Then there are other physicians who are asking me about berberine and NAD, a lot of cutting edge things that people are using out there. So I think it really depends on your perspective and where you're at in life. But I think the basics are obvious. If you can track someone's, let's say, blood sugar, blood pressure, body composition, change in weight, and you can prove with a balanced nutrition and maybe sprinkle in some botanicals and some plant nutrients, I think even the naysayers, like my good friend in New York, I think he would say, okay, there's validity there. Proved it to me with my own results. And I think that's the kind of like the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, when I can show someone who is a doubter that the results are valid.
Last question, looking ahead, what excites you about the research on the event horizon? When you start sort of thinking, a few years out in terms of the research window, is there something there that you're kind of got your eye on?
Yeah, so Jeff, I'm kind of an old school nutrition guy, the way I was trained with Dave Heber. I think about macros and how macros and micros are in the food supply. And as the planet has grown to over 8 billion people, yikes, we need high quality nutrition. So, I love anti-aging, cutting edge, all this great stuff. But I'm much more of the functional guy. Like, how do we feed a growing planet with good quality nutrition? How do we make sure kids in the first 5 years of development have good micros and micronutrient? So I get excited about what you and the industry is doing to make these things possible, especially in areas of the world where people can't get good vitamins and minerals, they can't get good protein. That's what excites me, is scaling up some of these wonderful technologies in nutrition that can feed a growing planet. And I don't know if we're going to continue to grow to 9, 10 billion, but that's what really excites me, and it always has for 20 years. How can we feed people who they can't get a steak, they can't get, fresh blueberries, but if we could get them a vitamin mineral blend sachet, maybe some protein in a bar, or a soup, that I think means a world of difference. So that's what excites me.
Well, I think that's a hopeful and amazing place to end our discussion, but not before I say a hearty thank you for coming on the Supplement Source today. We really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, Dr. Luigi Gratton of Herbalife.
Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure anytime, and thanks for all that you guys do.